Okay, so turn off cell phone and text messages, and instant messenger, and Skype, and social media, and notifications. Just turn all that stuff off so we can have all of your attention. Because again, you're going to get dozens of tips and ideas for creating your digital product and building your business. And we want to make sure that you capture all of them. Also, get something to take notes with and write down the ideas that you're going to apply. And it's important to be ready to take notes in advance because you don't want to be scrambling around trying to find something to write on or write with or a place to take notes on your computer when you hear the idea, because by the time you get there, you're going to have forgotten it, or there's going to be another one you want to write down. So make sure you get something to take notes with, something to write on, something to write with. If you're just joining right now, welcome. This is Evan Pagan. We're about to start our webinar. And again, we're going to include dozens of tips and ideas and strategies for creating your digital product, building your online business. Turn off cell phone, text messages, instant messenger, Skype, social media. Just shut all that stuff down. I promise it'll all be there when you get back. Get yourself something to take notes with, okay, something to write on, something to write with. As they say, the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. Okay, so you don't want to be scrambling right when it's time to take notes there. Okay, good. Also, you can ask me questions. Okay, so I want to point out here that we're going to be monitoring the questions, okay, that you want to ask me when we do our live Q&A. So if you have something come up during the training, please enter it into the question box. I've got someone on my team who's going to be monitoring questions. So as they come up for you, enter them on this page, and then they're going to organize them and send them all to me. A quick tip, if you're going to ask me a question, please be as detailed as possible. Okay, instead of just saying how do you do it? Give me a sentence or two about your situation. Ask me a specific question, because the more I know about you and your situation, the better of an answer that I'll be able to give you here today. But make sure you engage. Be involved here. Put a question into the box and talk to me. I'm going to stay on for quite a while at the end of the presentation and just do Q&A so that we can get your questions answered. Now, as we dive into the webinar, I just want you to think for a moment about what's happening here right now, what's happening on this webinar. Okay, so right now, every minute, we have more and more people that are tuning in, they're joining, they're watching, and they're listening to this webinar from all around the world. People from dozens and dozens of countries are plugging in to learn how to do something. Okay, we're all doing it right here. And this is important to keep in mind as we talk about digital products today, because one of the miracles of digital products is that it allows people from all around the world to plug in, to tune in, and to learn from you, learn how to do something. And in the case of digital products, it can happen automatically. So just keep that in mind, what we're doing right here, and what a quantum leap this is in learning and online education, and also in business. Okay, so today is all about digital products, and why now is the time to take what you know and package it up into a product that you can sell. It's never been easier to take your knowledge, your expertise, and story and make a product you can sell in your online business. It's never been easier. In a time of business anxiety, I see digital products as the solution. In this webinar, you'll learn what digital products are, how they work, and how to make one with what you know. Okay, so let's talk about what we'll cover today. We're going to look at some important trends. Okay, while we've got time here, I want to just take a few minutes. I want to show you some business trends. I want to show you online business trends. I want to show you some digital product trends, some online learning trends. And I also want to show you a view into the future of online business and the future of learning. We'll also look at digital products. Okay, we'll look at digital product niche strategies. We'll look at digital product creation shortcuts. So you create a great digital product that people want to buy. We'll look at marketing and conversion systems. We'll look at list and audience building methods. We're going to look at some mistakes to avoid. Okay, I'm going to explain 5 key mistakes that people make when creating and marketing their digital product and how to avoid them. And this is critical if you want to save time and maximize your chance of success with your digital product and your online business. I've looked back over my experience creating dozens and dozens of digital products, and I've kind of tried to identify the roadblocks, the real mistakes that people make. Okay, so stay tuned for those. And something to notice here is that I use and follow a system. The reason I've been able to create all of these successful digital products is that I follow a system. I created this system over years of creating best-selling digital products. I'll be walking you through my system later in the webinar. I'll also show you my blueprint. Okay, so there are 5 steps to building, launching, and marketing your digital product, and I'll show you my blueprint for doing it and walk you through it. I'll also tell you the details about my new digital product blueprint coaching class that we're launching. And I also have a special offer for you because you're on this webinar, and a special bonus for anyone who stays with me until the end of our class here. Okay, so make sure and stay tuned for that. And remember, we're doing question and answer at the end. If you're just tuning in right now, if you got here a few minutes late, again, if you have questions, make sure and type them in. And when we're finished with the main body of the webinar, I'll answer them. If you have a question about creating a product, getting customers, or a digital product blueprint course, make sure and type it in. And remember to give me some detail. Okay? Don't just ask me a 3-word question. Give me a sentence or 2 about your situation, and give me a question so I can understand, because the more specific you are with your question, the better quality answer I can give you. All right, so as we get in here, first I want to make a business case. I really believe in digital products, as you can probably tell. I'm going to take a few minutes to first explain what a digital product is and why I love them, then also make a case for an online business, and I also want to share some trends and how businesses are getting disrupted by innovation right now. All right, so a few reasons why I love digital products. They help people. You can do well by doing good. In other words, you can do well for yourself in business and financially by doing good for others, which is a rare opportunity in the world. Your digital products, they do the teaching work. So you can have 1, you can have 100, you can have 1,000 of your products out teaching or at work for you at a time. Each of your digital products becomes a new pillar of your business and a new potential stream of income. And once your digital product is built, it can keep teaching forever. Okay? And this is really profound. It can keep teaching forever. In our class today, I want you to keep in mind that what we're really talking about here is getting paid what you're worth. The reason why most businesses don't feel inspiring is that they don't feel like they're going anywhere. And you don't feel like you're being paid what you're really worth. Okay, so we're talking about getting paid what you're really worth and taking what you know and monetizing it and having it become very valuable to lots of other people. Okay, so what is a digital product? Information that has been organized into a system or recipe becomes much more valuable. Okay? Information that has been organized, instead of it just being data, when it's been organized into a system or recipe, it becomes much more valuable. Now, data is random, but information informs. By putting ideas and knowledge in an order that's easy to learn, you create a product. It goes from just random information to becoming a product. And it becomes a digital product when it's something you can stream or download, when it's something you can transmit digitally, online. Okay, so that's what a digital product is. Here are just some example digital product formats: ebooks, audio courses, video courses, membership sites, webinars, all digital products, and there are many more. And there are many more formats. Prices for digital products. Okay, here are some of the prices that I've sold digital products for. Ebooks, $15 to $40. Interview subscriptions, $20 to $50 per month. Audio courses, $50 to $200 for an audio course. Membership sites, $20 to $500 per month. Video courses, $100 to $2,000 plus. But remember, with a digital product, it's digital. Okay, so you don't have to pay a lot of money to duplicate them and fulfill them. You don't have any inventory. You don't have to deal with a bunch of storage costs or any of that kind of stuff. All right, so what happens when you create a digital product? Well, you have instant credibility and authority. When you show someone your digital product, I mean, if you just show them even a picture of it, they think about you differently. Okay? You're someone that is an author, or you're someone that's created a published product. It becomes easier to meet important people. Okay? You're your digital product. It opens up a lot of doors. People who have lists, okay, of subscribers and customers, they become interested in working with you and promoting your product, because people who have lists are always looking for ways to monetize their list. And you also have something special. You have a unique product to sell. When you take your information, your experience, your story, and you put it into a digital product, all of a sudden you have something unique. You're not trying to sell the same product as someone else. And when you create a unique product, right, no one can take that from you. You always have a unique product to sell. You also get massive leverage. When you create a digital product, you leverage the power of computers to create a literal multiplication of your abilities. Once created, you can basically have an unlimited number of people learning from you anytime, from anywhere, and it's automatic. It's strange for me to think that for years now, basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop, there are people all around the world who are listening to and watching and going through my digital products. Okay? It's huge leverage. I don't have to be there doing it anymore. The product does the teaching. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about disruption, because we're kind of, on the border of talking about it anyway here. The big buzzword in the business startup community is disruption. Okay, and this is kind of short for disruptive innovation. And it basically means that technology is changing every industry, every job, everything in business so fast that it feels like a disruption. Now, this process also creates a lot of insecurity. You see people becoming more and more insecure in business, in jobs, in the economy right now, because the disruption makes us all wonder, is what I do, even going to be around in a few years? Here are some examples of disruption. Right? Tesla, PayPal, Airbnb, Uber. Right? These are all examples of disruptive innovation. So how do they disrupt? Right? PayPal. All of a sudden, you can send people money, set up a store, take payments online in minutes. Uber, right? You can call a car with your mobile device, and it shows up in a couple of minutes. Also, you can sign up and be driving and working immediately too. Okay? So there's kind of two ways that it's disruptive. Airbnb, you can either put your place up for rent when you're out of town and get someone to come stay in it this weekend, and you can start, making money when you're not staying in your home. Or if you want, you can find a place anywhere in the world to stay. My wife and I just finished a few months of traveling. We were in Europe and some places in America, and we used Airbnb almost the whole time. Right? It's amazing. Tesla, this one's kind of self-explanatory, but it's a car that doesn't need gas. Right? That's pretty powerful, and they've done a lot of other things. You know what I mean? A car that's the highest ranked in safety and the highest ranked in, customer feedback and just a great user experience. These are disruptive technologies. All right, so what else is being disruptive? Well, Peter Drucker, who's possibly the most famous business guru of all time, he predicted that the university system of education would eventually break down. He believed that this would create a massive opportunity for a new system to emerge, but he didn't know what that new system was. Right? So why is this an opportunity? Well, if you go to a university, for example, do you think that you can take a class at a university about how to create a digital information product? Right? No. And in fact, a lot of the things that people are looking to learn online, you can't take a course in school. The university system, they can't keep up. They can't change fast enough. It was a system that was designed when knowledge basically changed slowly. So take a look at this. An online education. $107 billion. Okay? It came out of nowhere. So this is the exact same pattern of disruption. Okay? And it's happening in learning and education as well. Online learning industry, $107 billion. All right, so let me say that again. $107 billion industry. Most people have no idea that this is happening, and they have no idea that a lot of this money is being earned by regular people who are striking out to help others learn. And in fact, when I think through all the people that I know and that I've met, the majority of the self-made millionaires that I know made their money or currently now are in business doing online education, digital products. Okay? That's what's going on right now. All right, now let's talk about the case for your business. Okay? And business is important to it's kind of to review why we all want to have one. It's the one accessible path to freedom today. Right? It's the way to create real success that's available to all of us. Okay? I started out growing up in the Oregon backwoods kind of thing. I didn't, have $1 million to start investing with. It's something that I was able to do. I could sit down at my computer, I could create a book, and I could start my online business. Also, starting in new businesses is growing in popularity. More businesses are being started right now than ever before. I was just reading some research that I found a while back. Home businesses are actually more likely to succeed, according to some research. And that makes sense because you can work on it when it works for you. You can build your business in your own time. There are a lot of advantages to having your own business. A little bit more specific, right? Let's talk about the case for an online business. I can work from basically anywhere with just a computer and an internet connection. In fact, right now, as I'm doing this webinar, I'm standing in an apartment that we rented on Airbnb in San Francisco, which is not where we normally live. And we've been traveling now for several months. In fact, they're building a huge building right outside here. So if you hear construction, or banging or something like that, that's because I'm not in my, normal place. But it's amazing to be able to work anywhere with just a computer and an internet connection. Do my team calls, even create products. I had much lower startup costs, and I could start immediately in my business. I didn't have to go, buy a building or rent a storefront, get a bunch of expensive inventory. Again, I can work on my time when I'm most energized and creative, and I can work as much as I want, as much as I feel inspired to work. And also, people can buy my products anytime, 24/7. When I first wrote my book and I put it online, I would just sell, 1 or 2 copies here and there. But every morning, I'd roll out of bed, roll right into my chair, and open my computer, or back then it was start my computer, and I'd look at my stats, and sometimes while I was sleeping, someone would buy one of my products and the money would be deposited. And that was a miracle. The idea that people around the world can buy my products anytime. It's always daytime somewhere. As I said, your digital product turns you into an instant authority. Okay, here's my first book that I wrote, W Dating. I wrote it with this pen name. And, even though you've never heard of me or my dating advice, that kind of thing. If I show you this, again, I just have to show you the graphic of it. And a part of you goes, oh, he wrote a book. Okay, well, maybe I should have to listen to what he has to say. Your digital product multiplies your work and teaches for you, as I mentioned. Here are some pictures from a live program that I did. It was a very high-end course teaching entrepreneurs. And I taught that program over 5 days. And as you can see, there's a whole setup and monitors and cameras, and we got all this fancy furniture, and it was a big production, but we put a couple of cameras in the back and we recorded it, and then we created a digital product from it, and now people around the world can go through the digital product, and I never have to teach that course again, right? But thousands of people have learned that course, have gone through it because it's a digital product. Very high leverage. Each new product becomes a business asset and an income stream. I feel a little self-conscious showing off and showing all these big numbers and so forth. But here are just some of my digital products and my different brands and things. And you can see each one of them has become an income stream for my business. My Wake Up Productive course, we've sold over $1 million, a couple $1 million worth of that course. Altitude program, 4.5 million plus. Right? These different products and different brands, they each become their own little businesses within my business. As I said, I love the freedom it gives me. My wife and I love to travel. She's a little bit more the adventurer, but she's encouraged me to go around. You can see us on an elephant in Thailand there, and me out in the desert in India with a camel. You can see us swinging through the trees, and you can see us, at the Eiffel Tower there a few months ago, going and hanging out with our daughter. While I was in all of these places, anytime I needed to work, I just opened up my computer, plugged into an internet connection, did team calls I needed to do, did trainings I needed to do. It's very freeing. And also, a lot of doors have opened for me. You may have heard me mention in some of my other videos, Tony Robbins called and asked to interview me for his New Money Masters program. I was invited to interview Sir Richard Branson at a very important event in Canada. He liked the interview so much that he called me up and asked me to interview him at his charity event in Los Angeles. So that was a real thrill there. You don't see me in a tux with a bow tie on very often, but that's what was going on there. So I think that everyone should have a digital product. Okay, if you want to write a book, you should have a digital product. If you're a coach, you should have a digital product. If you're an author, you should have a digital product. If you have a physical product, you should definitely have a digital product. You can sell a lot more physical products by offering a digital product as a bonus or as an upsell. You can use it as another stream of income. If you want to start a business, for sure you should have a digital product. I really think that everyone can and should have a digital product. Each of us should take the knowledge that we have and our story, and we should put it into a format so that others can learn it at their convenience anytime they want. And so it creates a legacy. But if you don't get your digital product done, then you can't build your online business. Okay, so no digital product, no online business. We have to get your digital product done. So let's dive in and learn the action steps. Okay, so we have to nail 5 things. 1, we have to nail your product niche. 2, we have to nail your product content. 3, we have to nail your marketing. 4, we have to nail your launch. And then 5, we have to nail your email follow-up system. Okay? All 5 of these. If you get any one of them wrong, it can actually kill your business or make it so that you can never get going in the first place. If you get all 5 of these right, okay, you have a very, very strong probability of building a profitable online business with your digital product. Okay, so there's a secret to success with digital products in your online business. The secret is simple. It's to learn how to think like your customer, how to think like the person who's going to give you money. Okay, so if you're taking notes, write this down. Think like the person who's going to give you money. If you learn to think like them, right, then you create products and marketing that speak to them. If you don't learn to think like the person who's going to give you money, then you're talking to yourself, and they can tell. Okay, so that's what we're going to learn now in the mistakes and the tips that follow. All right, so here's our first mistake, okay, and it's a niche mistake, and the niche mistake is being too general. People look for specific solutions, not general solutions. Okay, very important. Write that one down. People look for specific solutions, not general solutions. Okay, so what do you go buy if you have a headache? Okay, so let's say you walked into a drugstore and you've got a headache and you want to buy something for it. Okay, what do you buy? You're looking for a specific solution. Okay, you're not going to buy a lawn chair to cure your headache. You're going to go buy some medicine probably. And when you go down the medicine aisle, okay, let's just do a thought experiment. You go down the medicine aisle and you're looking, you find pain relief is a big section, and then you find a little section that's got ibuprofen and Tylenol, and then there's Excedrin. Right? That's the medicine for headaches. But right as you're reaching for it, imagine that you look up, and up on the top of the shelf you see a big blue jar that's like a gallon, and it's liquid. And on the front it says medicine, and underneath it says cures everything. Hey, what are you going to buy? Are you going to buy the Excedrin that's made for headaches, or are you going to buy the big blue jar that says medicine? Right? Well, you're going to buy the headache pills because that's the specific solution. And the more specific you are with your product, the more people trust that it can solve their problem. And by the way, the higher the perceived value. Okay? The more specific you are with your product, the more people trust that it can solve their problem. So here's a niche tip. Create a new category. So don't just create a new product, create a new category in the mind of your customer. New, more specific products tend to become the winners in their category. So let me give you an example here. Right? When, back in the day when computers were rising, right, the big computer company was IBM. It makes sense that IBM should have been the winner in software, right? Because they were the winner, a multi-billion-dollar company building computers. They should also be the winner in software, right? But IBM didn't win the software game. Microsoft won the software game. And in fact, it created a new category in the mind of customers, software. Well, Microsoft became this big, dominant company. Bill Gates became the richest guy in the world. Very famous story. And so it makes sense, since they won at software, they should have probably won at the internet too, right? So the internet came online, search engines started up, right? Microsoft definitely should have won that game. I mean, they were around beforehand. They had a search engine, right? But they didn't. Who won that game? Well, it was Google. Google won that game because they really went after search, and they really did the best job of creating a search engine. Now, notice what each of these things is: computers, software, search engines. These are each new categories. When you think of a search engine, right, you probably think Google. In fact, it's a verb. People say Google it. And when you create a new category, that's what happens. You create a space in the mind that you can be first into. Okay? So create a new category by being more specific, and then name it so you can be first. You actually want to name your category. Okay, so let's just do a quick little case study. My first ebook, which was Double Your Data. When I wrote my first book, I understood this principle, and it gave me a big advantage. Okay, now, I could have written a book of general self-help ideas, or even general relationship advice. Okay, those would have been broader, right, bigger, less specific, more general. Instead, I wrote a book of dating advice, and specifically dating advice for men. Now, if I would have written a book of self-help, and I mean, let me tell you, if you read Double Your Dating, most of what's in there, 60 or 80% of it, is valuable to anyone who's trying to do anything in their lives. Right? But I tailored the knowledge specifically to men who wanted to get more dates, and I cut out people that were interested in, health and wellness, and people that were interested in money and finance and personal improvement. And I cut out most of the people that were interested in relationships, and I cut out women because it was for men. Right? So I eliminated like 95% of my potential audience or more because it was very specific, dating advice for men. And then I started talking about the category that I was creating, which was dating advice. Okay, now, this was a few years ago when dating advice for men was actually a relatively new category. And this allowed me to be first in that category. Very powerful. All right, now let's talk about a product design mistake. Okay, and it's the data dump. Most people assume that the purpose of their product is to give others information. Okay, but that's not it. There's another key purpose: to make something that people already want to buy. Okay, so think about the difference here. Okay, most people think, right, they assume that the purpose of their product is to give information. There's another key purpose: to make something that people already want to buy. Why is this? Because if they don't buy the product, they're never going to get what's inside. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, it's a very high priority to make your product so that people already want to buy it, so that they will buy it, and then they'll see what's inside of it. The great tragedy with most books and most digital products is that most of the people who need them never even see them in the first place. Right? They never see them in the first place, so they don't even know that the information you need is inside. So it's a mistake to just write down or say what you know about a topic and assume people will pay you good money for this data. Okay? We don't just want to do a data dump. So here's a product design tip. Use buyer hot buttons. Your product sells much better when you outline your product based on what your customer is looking for, what they're searching for. Okay, so we start out by listing your customer's biggest fears and desires, and we also research what your customer is searching for. Okay, if you just outline your product this way, list your customers' biggest fears, their biggest wants, and then research what they're searching for and make your outline this way. What happens is you're making a product that people want to buy. And of course, you can fill in your product. Okay? You can make 60 or 80% of your product all the stuff that you know and your story, the things that the customer really needs. But remember, we need to learn to think like the customer. So we need to start with their motivations, make a product that customers want to buy, and then include the things that they need to learn. Okay? It's an inversion, it's a reframe, it's another way of looking at things, but it makes all the difference. Okay? I have people come to me all the time and they say, Eben, I wrote this book or I made this digital product and I need help selling it. And then I say to them, how did you write the book or how did you create the product? And they said, well, I just took everything I know and I put it into this really high quality product. It's tragic because sometimes people have invested years to do this. And when I look at it, I realize that it was designed the wrong way and therefore it's almost impossible to market it. And again, unfortunately, I have to advise these folks to go back and start from the beginning and to design their product over again based on what people want to buy already, and then fit all the stuff in from the product. So here's an example, okay, a good metaphor, the 1/4-inch drill bit. When someone buys a 1/4-inch drill bit, what do they want? Right? They don't want a 1/4-inch drill bit, they want a 1/4-inch hole. The drill bit is the feature. Okay? The hole is the benefit. The drill bit is the what, and the hole is the why. The drill bit is the product, but the hole is the outcome that they want. It's the result that they want. Right? So your product is the drill bit. Okay? We've got to wrap our heads around the fact that the product is not the solution itself. Right? We want to present it as being as close to the solution as possible, but your product is a drill bit to help them get the result they want. If you forget the 1/4-inch hole that your customer wants, then you forget the thing that they are really buying. And what you do is you wind up talking about how great the drill bit is. Our drill bit is made out of this super sharp steel, and it's really fancy, and whatever. We spent 20 years researching how to make it. But customers don't care about that. What they want to know is when you use this drill bit, you're going to get a really nice, beautiful 1/4-inch hole, and it's going to happen quickly, and it's not going to be sharp. You're going to be talking about the outcome that they want. So what is your customer's 1/4-inch hole? What's the result that they want? What are the things that they're moving toward and they're moving away from? And we have to learn to think like a customer. If we don't learn to think like a customer, nothing will work. It doesn't work unless you can think like a customer. That's what we're practicing here. That's really all that we're practicing here. Here's another example case study. This class, okay, this webinar right here. Okay, so after asking my students what they wanted and wanted to avoid learning how to create digital products, I've learned that they're most interested in a few key things. Right? They want to learn how to target their niche, get their product done, create their marketing, do their launch, write their email follow-ups. So that's what I'm teaching you right here, my best ideas for each of those areas. Hey, my very best idea, or a couple of ideas for each of those areas, the ones that will get you the furthest. That's what I'm teaching, right? Because I'm listening and I'm trying to make this as valuable as possible. Right, here's another product tip. High-end products, they often sell better. Most people who are starting out with online learning and digital products assume that they have to start by creating a cheap product. Now, this can be a winning approach, but it's often better to create a high-end product first. And this completely changes the psychology as you release other products. All right, so I showed you this picture earlier. What was going on here is I did a program called Altitude. It was a 5-day high-end training course that was originally $10,000 a ticket. Okay? And then what we did is we recorded the course on video and we turned it into a home study course. Okay? So the live program became a home study course. So when I started teaching business growth, I used a premium brand strategy. I started a live seminar that was $10,000 a person, and I created a video course, recorded the program, offered a home study video version for $2,000. Now, when I sell the home study version, okay, for a couple of $1,000s, it's a bargain compared to the $10,000 that people who flew in from literally 26 countries to be there, right? It's a bargain compared to that. You get it for 1/5. You get the exact same training because it was the recording of the training, right? So it positions things differently. So when you launch a high-end product first, it can be a great positioning tool for your next products. Notice how Ferrari does it. Okay, so what they do is they launch an exclusive, rare, $1 million car, and then they design their other cars to look like it, and then they sell them like hotcakes for only, $250,000. Right? So, how different are these two vehicles to 99% of, the universe? You can even see the design stylings where they designed the really expensive one, and then they made the headlights and the wheels and the lines and everything. Right? They design the expensive one, then they borrow the design cues so that when you buy the other one, you're thinking about the $1 million car, and you're thinking about how when other people see you, they're going to think that you're in a $1 million car because they don't know the difference. Car companies do this all the time, and a lot of other companies do it as well. Quick little timeout. I want to mention that there are a few different types of digital products and information products that work really well. There are motivational products, which are usually just a bunch of stories that touch the heart and really motivate people. Before digital products, there were the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. I think they sold I don't know, 1 billion of them, or some ungodly amount of products, all motivational, right? Made you feel good. There are how-to products, okay, programs on how to do something, whether it's a hobby like how to surf or how to play poker, or it's how to build your business or how to lose weight. And then there are toolbox products, which are basically products that have a whole bunch of different tools for doing a certain thing. I've got a course, for example, on creativity and innovation, and inside the course, I teach about a dozen of my favorite creativity tools. And you do the tools and you practice the exercises, you become more creative. I wanted to point that out as we're talking about products because a lot of times people think that there's only one formula for a product. I tend to like doing how-to products, especially if you're just getting started. And in a how-to product, you can kind of include some motivation. You can put in little summaries and toolboxes. And in fact, when I create my courses now, I try to do all of them in one course. But I want to point out that whether you want to, share the stories about what you've done, or whether you want to share the steps for getting a particular result, or whether you've just created a whole bunch of systems for doing something great. For example, I just bought a book on futurism, and every chapter is a different strategy for predicting the future. There's not much continuity to the book, but it's a great toolbox full of different ideas. All right, so let's talk about marketing. All right, and here's a marketing mistake: talking about you. Okay, so most people who are getting started with their marketing unconsciously believe that they must talk about themselves and their product. Okay, so yes, you need to talk about yourself, but it should be only educational if you do. There has to be some connection so that the other person can see themselves getting the result they want, or have a story that somehow is educational. You'll notice that as I'm sharing with you here, I do talk about myself and I talk about my business and so forth. But it's only in a way where you're going to say, okay, I'm learning something here, or I'm getting something out of this, or I'm learning about Eben in a way that helps me to understand where he's coming from. And it's very, very rare that I just, talk about me and I go off telling some random story. Okay, so what should you talk about instead? You should talk about them. You should talk about your customer and talk about their needs. Okay, so if you find yourself talking about yourself more than 10 or 20% of the time, stop. Remember, it's not about you. It's about the result that they want. Okay? It's about that 1/4 inch hole. And here's a marketing tip. They translate the value of your product. You have to put it into terms that your customer can understand. And most people never consider this. Your marketing isn't about your digital product. Right? Again, your marketing is actually about the value of the result that your customer will get with it. And you're going to want to write that down. This is a huge mindset shift. And your marketing is actually about the value of the result that your customer will get with your product. So translate this value. And you can get started in kind of the exercise of translation by asking yourself, how much time, effort, energy, money did you have to invest to learn what you know that your customer will save? How many life experiences did you have to go through? How much energy did you have to expend? How many years of your time? Write down what you had to do to learn what you know that your customer will save. And then when you start talking about your product, you can talk about the amount of time that they'll save, the amount of money, the effort, the energy, the mistakes. Here's an example that's a simple example of translating the value. Right? When I first started selling my book on dating, Double Your Dating, at first I sold it for $29.85. Then we raised the price to $39.95. We saw that it worked better, so we left that the price for a long time. And when I was selling, I mean, keep in mind, this is an ebook that you download online, and I was selling it for $39.95, and I was selling a lot of them. And in my sales process, what I did at the end is I compared the price of the book to the price of a date. Right? And I pointed out that you're going to waste more money than this going on a date that's not even going to work out. And what if this book gets you just one more date? Or what if it helps you do better on a date that you go on? Right? How much is it worth to you then? So we have to translate the value. You have to put it into terms that your customer can understand. Now I have a whole bunch of systems for doing this. Unfortunately, we don't have time. It's tragic whenever I'm teaching. I want to stop and teach each of these things and just dive into it for like a half hour and explain exactly how to do this. But you get the idea here. You have to translate the value. All right, now here's a launch mistake. Let's talk about your launch. And the launch mistake is the one-shot sale. And this is kind of a common marketing mistake, but it's really brutal and expensive if you do it in your launch. Most people have an instant gratification mindset when they create their marketing. They want someone to come and buy right now. And this is a big mistake in the long run. Most people buy on the third, fourth, fifth, 10th contact. So instead, build a series of free content that romances a customer to the point of buying. The sequence is the solution. Okay? The sequence is the solution. It's very likely, if you're here right now with me on this webinar, it is extremely likely that you have seen some of my other free content training. Right? And the reason why that is because I've created a whole series of some of my best stuff that I give away so that people can get an experience of what it's like to work with me, who I am, understand a little bit more about me and why it's a good idea to work with me. And then I've put these in a sequence, right? And it's very likely that you've gone through a sequence like this at least once. It's also very likely that you've purchased my other programs, and you're now here with this one because this is another thing you want to learn about from me, and you'll see that this is a consistent thing that I do. Okay, so here's a launch tip. I call it move the free line. Give away your most valuable idea in a free report or video. Okay, when you give away your most valuable idea, this gets more leads for you. It gets more traffic and more people who want to sign up for your list. And it's a hard one for most people to give away their best idea. I had a friend call me up several years ago when I was building my first business, and he said, hey, Evan, I see what you're doing here. I've done really well in this other area of investing in real estate, and I want to write a book or create an online course. What should I do? And I said to him, take your very best idea, okay, the best thing that you know about investing in real estate, the most valuable one, and create a free report or a video or audio and give it away. Put it online and give it away. And he said, I can't do that. And I said, why not? And he said, well, because this is my very best idea. I mean, that's the one I would only teach that to someone who paid me a lot of money. And I said, okay, well, there you are. And you know what? He never did go on to become successful, right? Because he was stuck at that point. If you think about it, right, look at the way that music artists launch their albums. Okay, they make a whole album. Let's say they put 10 or 15 songs on there, and then they release singles and they promote individual songs. Do you think that they take the worst song on the album and release that as their first single? No, they take the best song on the album and they release that one as their kind of free line content to go out into the world. And then people say, oh, well, let me go check out the rest of this. And then they buy the album. Okay, so remember when I said that I was doing what I was teaching and giving you my best ideas for each area? Okay, well, that is moving the free line. That's what I'm doing right now. And that's what I've done in my other videos and different types of free line content if you've seen them before. Right, now let's talk about follow-up and email. Okay, and obviously a big mistake here is not communicating. Right? The biggest mistake when following up by email is being afraid of over-communicating, which leads to not communicating. And the mindset shift to make is to one of educating instead of just selling. Okay, so here's the rule of thumb. You want to communicate as much as possible, okay, as much as possible with your audience, as long as what you're saying has a lot of value to them. Okay, so as long as you're sending them valuable stuff, you can communicate a lot. And a little follow-up case study I'll tell you about is when I was building my Double Your Dating business, I started writing newsletters, and I found that the more valuable that I made them, right, the more valuable I made them, the more people came to buy. And I eventually wrote hundreds of them, okay, that averaged 10, 15 pages long, because I saw that the more valuable free stuff I gave away in my follow-ups, the more people came and bought my digital products. All right, so let's zoom out for a second here. I want to talk about the learning and growth mindset. Carol Dweck, who's an expert in motivation, she says that people are in either what she calls a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Okay? A lot of people, maybe even most people, think that the world is just the way it is. It's in a fixed state, and so are they, and there's nothing they can really do about it. But some people have a growth mindset. They believe that they can change their circumstances, and it turns out that the most successful people believe, they just have a belief, I can change my circumstances. I can grow. I can learn new things. I can change the situation that I'm in, and I can improve. So in order for someone to invest in your digital product, they must believe that they can grow, that they can change, and it's your job to help them believe it. All right? So your job here with your marketing and with your digital product is to help your customer get into a growth mindset. Help them believe that they can grow. Help them believe they can change. It's your job to help them believe it. Okay? Imagine for a moment being someone who needs the information that you have locked up in your head. Imagine being them. And now imagine that the world is fixed and you can't do anything about it. Okay? And now do a thought experiment. Imagine that you're them and something happens, someone inspires you, and you realize that you can change. You realize that you can grow. You realize that you can change your circumstances, and you start to get excited. Okay? That's what we want to do. So in order for you to create your digital product and succeed, you must believe that you can grow and that you can change. In other words, you must be inspired first. In NLP, they say you go first. If you want your customer to be in a particular state of consciousness, of emotion, of mind, you have to go and get yourself inspired and into that state first. Okay, so it's your job to help your customer believe that they can grow, and that they can change. And in order to do that, you've got to get yourself into that state. You've got to believe that you can grow and that you can change. All right, so what would this mean for you if you did it? What would happen if you took what you know in your story and you packaged it in a digital product that helped others? What would it mean for your life and for growing your own business? What happens when you start getting paid what you're worth to help people change their lives? And with that in mind, I want to extend an invitation to you. I'd like to invite you to join me for the Digital Product Blueprint 90-day coaching class. And I'd like to invite you to take your next big step. So let's start actually creating your digital product together, and let's start doing it today. I've designed a powerful 90-day coaching class to help you do it. You've done the hard work learning what you know. Okay, you've done most of the work, and the rest we can do together to create your product. Okay? And here's how we'll create your digital product. The digital product blueprint is a complete system. Okay? There are templates for your knowledge to make it easy to organize and easy to create your digital product. There are tools for designing your product, your marketing, and your website so you get your online business running. There's training for everything where I and my team walk you through all of the action steps. You don't want to try to reinvent the wheel. Okay? When you use a system, you get consistent results. And as you can see here, I use a system. Okay? These ideas that I'm sharing with you, you can tell that they're the way that I think. They're the methods that I use to create my digital products. You don't want to spend years trying to reinvent the wheel here and figure this out yourself. Okay? Starbucks, for example, uses a system. So you have the exact same predictable experience whether you go into a Starbucks, in one city or on the other side of the world. Use my digital product blueprint system to create and market your digital product. All right, in the digital product blueprint, okay, we get a couple of types of trainings. Okay, so first you get the 12 blueprints trainings. You get 12 digital product blueprints, each one specifically designed to help you build a key piece of your product, marketing, launch, and email follow-ups. Each one is a video training that includes an exercise, template, or a blueprint to take what you learn and use it immediately to build your product and your business. You learn how to find the knowledge you have that's most valuable, put it into your product so you can sell it for the highest price. The next part is you get the 5 modules classes, okay, with me teaching you, number 1, to target your product niche, number 2, to build your digital product, number 3, to create your marketing offer, number 4, to launch your digital product, number 5, to create your email follow-up sequence. Okay? And this is the order that we do these in over 90 days. Now let's take a quick look at the roadmap that I use at the blueprint. Okay? And this right here, I'm going to run through this quickly so you can get an idea of all the steps you need to do to create a digital product. Okay? So as I said, number 1, target your product niche. Identify a mass audience searching for a solution and create a customer avatar. Okay? So this is the image of your customer that you imagine in your mind when you're creating your product and your marketing. Next, use a 3-question niche test I've designed to narrow your niche only to buyers. Okay? We don't want to have a niche that includes a bunch of people who aren't buyers because they're not going to buy anyway. Okay? So we use my 3-question niche test to do that. And then we want to actually test out your niche before investing time to create your product. So you have to test your niche on real buyers before you create your product so you don't waste a bunch of time creating a product that people don't want to buy. Number 2, we need to build your digital product. Okay? And you want to outline your product based on customer searches so your product sells itself. Right? Remember we talked about needs and searches? Next, we identify knowledge that you have that's most valuable to customers. It turns out you have a lot more knowledge than you realize, and we need to identify just the knowledge you have that's most valuable to customers so that they'll pay the highest price for your product. Next, we use rapid prototyping system to create your product in days. Okay? You can actually create a product in days if you use this. I do it all the time. Okay? I've created dozens of digital products that took me just days to create, and I'll show you how to do that. Next, we create your marketing offer. Okay, we need to create whatever the marketing piece is that gets people to buy. So we identify key fears and desires of customers who are searching for you. We use our 7-step conversion formula system to create a marketing script. And then we use templates to design opt-in page, website, and your conversion piece. Okay, templates for all of this. Next, we launch your digital product. We move the free line by creating an opt-in magnet to get customers and subscribers. We identify and partner with others who already have lists of qualified buyers. And then we use our launch to create your next high-end digital product. This is such an important piece of the puzzle. Okay, so you create your first product, and then we actually use your launch. And as you deliver your product, we want to create your next product so that you get 2 products out of 1 launch. Next, we create your email follow-up sequence. We script the relationship building conversation with a new subscriber. We actually script it out as if you're building a one-on-one friendship. We then use 3 proven types of email newsletters to educate and sell. And we also learn about creating video and other types of follow-ups. And then we automate our emails in the Optimal Follow-Up Autoresponder series. Okay? And we put them together and we literally make a machine that follows up with people and converts them to buyers. So that's what we do inside the Digital Product Blueprint. Now this system works. Okay? It works to create your digital product. It's chunked into sections, so it's easy and intuitive to use immediately as you learn it. You get templates, exercises, and formulas for everything, so you can implement as you go. And it really works. Okay, I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials from people who have used my methods and systems to build their businesses. I also have a set of valuable bonuses for you when you decide to register today for Digital Product Blueprint. Now, these are some of my best and most effective courses to getting yourself into action and getting your product, marketing, and business built. To begin with, we must give you the time to build your product and your business. Okay, so let's start by increasing your productivity. So bonus number 1 is my Wake Up Productive course. Okay, you've probably heard of this course. It's a very powerful course that I teach. And the promise of Wake Up Productive is that it's a simple course, simple promise. If you go through it, you will double your productivity. And you'll double it. Now think about how much time you waste with distractions, interruptions, working on things that don't get big results. We are going to reclaim that time and use it to build your business. And the best part is that in Wake Up Productive, there are no old school planners or complex priority systems or other confusing methods to use. And Wake Up Productive will install 2 habits, only 2, and then use them in your life and your business. At the end of 90 days, you'll use what you learn. You'll double your productivity, guaranteed. Wake Up Productive feedback. I have just, probably hundreds at this point of testimonials that I've gotten from people who have gone through Wake Up Productive. Here's one I just grabbed from the list. The Wake Up Productive program literally changed my life. I know it's a cliche, but it's really true. After going through the whole program, I find myself getting at least twice the amount of work done. As an internet marketer, that's a huge thing to have happen, since it's so difficult to discipline yourself when you're making a passive income. But the work doesn't feel like work. For me, this is by far the most valuable program ever released. Don't be fooled to thinking this is a program on time management. This is how to achieve long-term life success habits. Truly a 10 out of 10. Okay, and I have just tons of feedback like that. It truly is a game-changing program. Bonus number 2, marketing step-by-step. Okay, this is my best marketing course. You get the entire thing as a bonus when you register for Digital Product Blueprint today. Now, I just want you to know I am sales and marketing phobic. Okay, natively, that's what I am. My first cold calling experience, when I was younger, I sat down at a phone to make cold calls. I was working in real estate, and I just looked at the phone, waiting to call people up that I didn't know. And I got so freaked out and so scared that I just went home and went to bed. The first ad that I ever ran, that I spent money to run, no one called and bought anything. The first direct mail I ever sent out got 0 response. No one called. No one wanted anything. I'm the biggest natural chicken when it comes to sales and marketing, and this is why you will love this particular system, the Marketing Step-by-Step course, so much. Okay, again, it's my best course on marketing, all my best marketing mindsets, strategies, techniques, one course. It's a system to learn all aspects of sales and marketing so you can be up and running, creating marketing pieces that work, that get people to buy immediately. Scripts, copywriting formulas, my favorite headlines, positioning and branding concepts, how to name your business and your products, and much, much more. It's 19 videos, exercises, and application systems for every part of your marketing. You will end this course confident and able to start creating effective customer-getting marketing in any situation. I have people that have MBAs go through my courses regularly, and they come back and they tell me, I learned more from these courses on marketing than I ever learned in business school. This is very powerful stuff. Bonus number 3 that you get when you register today is my tech tool trainings. Okay, so if you're just getting started, what we do is we walk you step by step and click by click through how to set up each part of your marketing and your business. Okay, 12 individual trainings. setting up your blog, doing an online survey, creating a website, setting up your landing page, putting stats and analytics on your site, setting up your email list and your autoresponder, making a downloadable PDF book, hosting a live webinar online, shopping cart and affiliate program setup, creating a membership website, setting up your social media presence, pay-per-click marketing setup, and again, all step by step, click by click, so you can see how to do it, and you can go through and do it, along with the training. And this is an extremely valuable bonus, and if you're just getting started, right, this will walk you through how to do everything. You will finish the digital product blueprint with your product niche targeted, your digital product finished, your marketing locked and loaded, your launch ready to go, your audience and your list growing. I've got a 100% guarantee, by the way. You can try it at my risk. If you attend your classes with me, you do your homework at the end of 90 days, you don't have your digital product done, just show me your homework and your exercises so I know you went through the program. I'll happily refund your entire tuition, give you all your money back. I'm that confident that this will work for you. Okay, you can do this. I wrote my first book in 3 weeks. Almost 15 years later, people around the world still buy it every day. Our tools and templates make it easy to organize your knowledge, create your marketing, build your business. We'll walk you through all the steps. The tuition, okay, for the digital product blueprint, it's only $197 a month for 12 months. If you'd like to pay your tuition in full, which I highly recommend, you can save almost $400, plus get 2 more advanced training courses as an additional bonus from me. Okay, and these are 2 extremely valuable courses. So you're going to want to take this option if you can. So pay in full bonus number 1 is my advanced digital product creation course. It's my most in-depth course on creating a high-value digital product. Okay, it's an advanced course. I originally did this for a very high-end mastermind that I had that was $6,000 to $12,000 a year. Okay, so it's an advanced course. It's a deep workshop on getting into the head of your customer, finding the highest value hot buttons they have. It's excellent for creating your second or your third high-end product and really nailing all of your customers' needs for a high-end product. It's in a workshop format, including other very successful digital product gurus that you will see working with me, creating products and teaching this material. This is a video course. It's all me teaching with very sophisticated people. So if you can, get this course because it's awesome. Full pay bonus number 2 is my traffic intensive training course. Okay, and this is the ultimate psychology course on getting traffic. We have had literally millions of people on our lists, okay, generated by tens of millions of visitors to our websites. I've used many different channels to get this traffic, including pay-per-click, content, affiliates, SEO, partnerships with big websites, and I teach all of these different methods in here. My most advanced traffic psychology course, okay, the psychology of how to do this. Again, this is a more advanced course that I taught for a more advanced group. This was filmed in a 2-day live program that I did. Again, this was $6,000 to $12,000 a year for the people that were part of it. Okay, so you get both of these 2 courses as a bonus if you decide to pay your tuition in full. Plus, you save up close to $400. So as I said, the real key to success with your digital product is remembering to think like a customer. When you join me for the Digital Product Blueprint course, that's what you learn. To think like the person who's going to give you money. And the main reason to work with me is that I've spent more time thinking like a customer than anyone, okay? And my systems will save you years and a lot of money learning to think like a customer. And that's what we do. We build the instinct to think like a customer. So we create products that they already want to buy and marketing that they enjoy going through and that gets them excited and that motivates them to push the buy button. Okay, so what do others think of my trainings in business building systems? Okay, this is something I just threw in at the last minute. Right, I want you to take a look at this list that I've forgotten about that I just found yesterday. All right, so this is a document that my team made for a website that I'm making. And what this is it's 38 pages of pictures and testimonials from people who have given me feedback about all of my different training courses. Okay, and you can see here is 38 pages of testimonials. Now, this is a tiny fraction of the testimonials I have. right? Some of my files have 38 pages of testimonials about just one product. Okay, so this is probably like 3 or 4% or something of the testimonials I have. The point is that other people really like my stuff. Okay, now there are laws and things where I can't show you the specific numbers that people have gotten and so forth, and I don't want to make a bunch of income claims and things. But I can tell you that there are many, many thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people around the world that have gotten incredible results with my courses. And remember, I've got a full 90-day money-back guarantee. You can go through the entire course at my risk. And if it doesn't work, right, you can get all of your money back. And remember, if you don't get your digital product done, then you can't build your online business. Okay? No digital product, no online business. We have to get your digital product done. So join me for the Digital Product Blueprint. All you have to do is click the Get Started Now button, right, to join me for the Digital Product Blueprint. When you click on Get Started Now, you'll be taken to a page with the details about what you'll get inside the Digital Product Blueprint. Okay, you can see kind of the value of some of these courses that you're going to get. There's a little bit more detailed explanation if you want to go through that. You can choose your tuition option, fill out a quick registration form, and you can start learning immediately how to create and get your digital product online. You will start immediately. You're going to dive right in. You get access to a ton of training. Okay, so click Get Started Now. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over, and I'm going to start going through the questions that have been submitted, and we'll do some some live Q&A here. And so remember, as we're figuring out how to switch over here, remember to send me a question and be detailed about it. Okay, if you want to ask me a question about how to create your digital product or your marketing, you can ask that. If you want to ask me a question about the Digital Product Blueprint, you can ask me that. Okay, so let's switch over and start doing some live question and answer. Do live. Corey, can you let me know that we are in fact live and you can see me and hear me? I'll make sure everything's working. Okay, great. So we've switched over. Corey, can you just give me a confirmation that everything's working? You can see me. Everything's looking good. Okay, great. So so here's the deal. Corey and Kim on my team are going through all the comments because they're coming in too fast for me to sort through them. What they're doing is they're taking your questions and they're putting them into a Google Doc for me so that I can go through them. All right. So make sure and put them in. And again, if you can give me some detail, that would be very helpful. Also, just one little warning here. I can hear, unfortunately, my little baby daughter is not feeling so good today, and you can just hear her starting to get upset a little bit. So if you hear a 2.5-year-old crying in the background, I apologize for that. We've got a little stomach thing going through our family right here. Okay, so let's go to some questions and let's dive in here. Okay, the first one. Let's see. Okay, good. First one is from Akaki. Eben, is it true that you don't have to be #1 in a field to write a book about it? I'm a college student right now, and I believe my knowledge in dating is valuable and will help people. Yeah, so, interestingly enough, a good friend of mine who was in college when he created his first book, he wrote a book about how to play poker, and it took off and did very well. And we have a lot of people take our courses who are, younger. I mean, honestly, I find that people that are younger often take this material and will do better with it because they don't have, like the baggage going. They don't have all these beliefs about, marketing and business. And I've seen young people also, they often tend to be better with technology, more comfortable in that realm as well. So, Yeah, I would go for it if I were you, for sure. And you will learn just the skills that you'll learn as you create a digital product. You work on the marketing, you do all the different pieces. They'll be extremely valuable to you in your life and in your business, of course. All right, let's see. Karen Williams says, if you currently have a self-published book completed, how do you grow or convert this to a digital product? So Karen, if you used the methods that you learned from me in one of my courses, then converting it to a digital product is easy because you just make a PDF of it, or you can read it and create an audio version, or you could even do a live webinar or a live program, and you could create a video version of it. If you haven't gone through a course and really learned how to organize your knowledge so that people already want to buy it, I don't advise you to take your self-published book and then convert it into a digital product because you don't have something that was designed in the first place to sell itself. Again, one of the key things that people come to me and say is, hey, Evan, I wrote this book 10 years ago, or I made this audio course, and now I just need someone to market it for me. And then I'll ask them a couple of questions. And what I realized is they just did one of these kind of data dumps that I was talking about, and they just put all their ideas together, and they weren't really thinking about their product as the marketing. So it's usually better if you didn't design it with these systems to take the several days or maybe a few weeks, redesign your product from scratch based on the needs of customers, so that again you design something that people are already looking for. Something that people, when they show up and they hear about it, they go, oh, okay, that hits all my hot buttons. That looks like something I should really buy. Hopefully you've seen my videos here. You've gone through these processes. You can see that, from the customer's perspective, when the customer shows up at your website or, looks at your video or reads your letter or whatever, they go, all right, this is exactly what I'm, looking for. And you get that that's a different, mindset. Or if you didn't create it with these things in mind, they show up at your website and they read about it and it just doesn't resonate, And because we all have less and less time, we trust our intuition, and we can tell whether something was created and it's going to be a great match for us or not. All right, let's see. Ellen says, do you use a particular email service? Do you help people with the tech side of setting up autoresponders? They can become burdensome and expand exponentially, in my experience, and can be confusing. Yes, great email services. I recommend Ontraport. I'm also an advisor and investor in the company, so there's a little disclaimer there. But you can use Aweber, or if you're using Infusionsoft, any of these services is just fine. And yes, we definitely help people with the tech side of setting up the autoresponders. It's possible that you didn't see me talking about the tech tool trainings. The 12 tech tool trainings that you get as one of the bonuses inside of the Digital Product Blueprint. They're specifically designed to walk you step by step through each of the 12 key things that you have to build online if you're a little bit overwhelmed by technology, right? And so setting up your email list and your autoresponder is one of those things, but we'll walk you through all of them. And if it's a little bit intimidating, you can just jump onto one of those classes. You can watch how it's done. You can go through it, step by step, click by click. You can ask questions. So definitely. All right, let's see. Tassie says, I'm a marketing consultant focusing on, biz dev and growth strategies. I have 2 digital products and will deliver them on Zippy course platform. Should I create hard copy versions of the courses too? Okay, I'm not as much a fan of the hard copy versions of courses. Once in a while we still do that, but less and less. And the reason is simple. It's expensive and time consuming, and you have to warehouse these things and so forth. Now, you say you're a marketing consultant, you focus on biz business development and growth strategies. If you've got a premium course, if you are, if you're really charging a lot already, and there might be a perceived value where, you could create a hard copy of the course and it might cost you, let's say $25 to duplicate, but you could, sell your consulting or you could sell your strategies for an additional $500 because you send them the course because it's already high end. That might be worth it. But the extra work to do it just to do it, I tend to not think that it's worth it. All right, let's see. John Brown asks, let's see, how to test if the product will be successful before launching it. How do you get in the mind of your customer and know what they'll want and will buy? If there's a lot of competition, how do you differentiate from them in terms of your product? One more question, how much money will we need to invest without the cost of your product? Okay, so I probably should have said earlier, we want to have as many one-part questions as possible because I could probably do 20 minutes on this. So let me see if I can get to the spirit of what you're asking, John. Let's see. So if you're launching a product and you perceive that there's a lot of competition already in the space, what you want to do is kind of use this strategy that we just talked about of narrowing your niche. Okay, so you want to narrow down your niche. You don't want to create a general product and then just go into competition with all of these well-established competitors out there. So I'll give you an example, right? So when I started online, I wrote a book of dating advice for men. Now, at the time that I wrote the book, a book of dating advice for men was actually a relatively novel thing, okay? It was more specific than what was already available out there. Okay? There was a lot of relationship stuff out there, and there's maybe some what I would have considered more manipulative, like pickup artist type stuff. But there wasn't something right in there that was just great dating advice for men. Now, if I were going to start that business again today, okay, because it's several years later, and there are several books and courses on just dating advice, what I would do is I'd ask myself, okay, what aspect of dating advice are people most interested in, like right now, that's a subcategory of dating advice? Okay, and then I would also ask, I'd kind of like make a Venn diagram where there are two circles overlapping, and I'd ask, what is an area of expertise that I know something about when it comes to this more specific area, and I try to make sure that they go together. So, for example, maybe today I wouldn't start out by writing a book of dating advice for men. Maybe I'd create a book of dating advice for online dating. Okay, or maybe I'd create a book of dating advice for online dating on a particular website, like Facebook. Okay? In other words, I'd niche down even more and I'd get more specific. And again, I'd ask myself, I'd say, okay, what's everyone looking for? Oh, they're looking for information on online dating because there's, less rejection and you can use the computer to talk to people and you can save time. All right, do I know something about online dating? All right, and I would say, okay, yeah, I do know something about online dating. What have I learned about that? And I would probably do some type of a test, where I'd maybe invite some folks to join me for a free class or a free webinar and see if there was interest. But that's how I do it. I'd become more niche until I didn't have competition and I had something that was, really great. Because remember, there's so many people around the world right now. It's very hard for us to imagine how many there are. If you saw some of my other videos, the metaphor that I used was, you've seen a football stadium, right? So football stadium, 83,000 people in a pretty big one. If you imagined that every one of those 83,000 people was another stadium with 83,000 people in it, okay, I know this is kind of like meta confusion here, but that's 83,000 stadiums that each have 83,000 people in them. That's almost 7 billion people. That's a good way to just get an idea of how many people there are, in the world right now. If you just sold one digital product to each person, one digital product to one person in each of those stadiums, you would sell 83,000 of your digital products. And so the question is, if you had a stadium full of 83,000 people, would one of them be interested in a really niche product about, let's say, dating advice, like online dating, in one particular website, maybe just for men or just for women, right? You start realizing, yeah, they probably would. You also said, how much money will we need to invest without the cost of your product? That's really up to you. Many or most of the tools online right now are free or very low cost. But if you really want to go for it, you could sign up for. I mentioned Entreport earlier. You can get an account with them for a few $100s a month to run your whole business. To set up your shopping cart and do all your email follow-up responders and do your A/B split testing and all your reporting and tons of things. But there are definitely a lot cheaper ways to go. When I got started, it was just a website. That was it. And then I set up a simple email list that I think was $20 a month or something like that, and I built it out slowly. So you can go as fast or as slow as you want. All right, here. Okay. Okay, I don't know what your name is here, but it says the You Look Great Project Byler. I don't know if that's your name or part of your name. And Byler asks, I have my book, but next step is audio version, translate to several languages. Your course specifically walk me through how to execute these. We've translated products into other languages and had some success with those, although it isn't something that we cover in the Digital Product Blueprint course specifically. If you're translating into other languages, my experience is you're going to want to get a partner in the other country where you're doing your alternate language product, and make them a partner and have them do the translation and set up the business, because sometimes in other cultures there are things that it's a lot easier to screw up. It's a lot easier to make mistakes there. So definitely recommend a partner there if you can do that. Well, if you can hear my little baby daughter, sorry about that. Sounds like she's not feeling too good. Okay. Gregor says, I'm active in the highly competitive golf niche. I'm thinking about a coaching component to my product. It involves a lot of work on my part, of course. What are your thoughts on coaching as a product? Well, my main answer here is if it's going to require a lot of your work in order to test out the product, then you're probably doing something that you should do a different way. Okay, so in other words, Kickstarter and some of these crowdfunding websites, they're really changing the game right now because they're making it legitimate to sell the product before you create it. Okay, now we've been teaching that method for a lot of years here to come up with a good idea for a product, sell the product, and then deliver it so that you can know whether or not people are interested in it. So what I would do if I were you is I would create a light version of your coaching component that you could deliver over, let's say, 4 weeks, or maybe it's 90 days and you could do 10 sessions or something like that. Maybe start it out as a one-on-one course to do with a few people and see how it works for them. If you're gonna do something that takes you more than probably several days to design and test market and then test deliver, right? And you'll do this manually. It's probably better to get what they call a minimum viable product together, test that out, and then if that works and you get some proof of concept on it, then you'll want to go and say, all right, this works. People are buying this. Now I can invest the time to create the bigger, like higher end one. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. All right, Silas got a question now. Hi, Evan. I'm not an expert in the niche I want to create products in. I would like to partner with teachers in this niche to create the content and events. Could you comment on partnering with others? Okay. This is okay. In fact, more and more now, what we're seeing is if you if you're good at the business stuff, if you just kind of have a natural propensity to organize things, maybe do the marketing, you like managing the projects, you could definitely go and partner with someone who is a content expert. In fact, in my business, what we did was I wrote my first book, and then I created several digital products, and we marketed those. And then after we built the formula that was successful, I went back and I partnered with other people who had products in other niches, but that were kind of adjacent to ours. And I said to them, look, we'll use our kind of business stuff to market your products, and it actually worked out great. So yeah, you could definitely do that. And again, I'm seeing that done more and more. In the digital product blueprint, because we're very marketing heavy, we talk a lot about kind of how to organize the product and do the marketing. If you could learn that stuff and then take someone who's a content expert and say, here, let me help you create the highest value digital product possible, that would be really valuable to them. It can be really valuable. Let's see, Alicia Kent says, what's the best method of delivering an 8-module e-course, taking into account ease of creation, financial considerations, best delivery, marketing, creating residual income, using WordPress and MailChimp? If you're just starting out, I think the best way to deliver it is without a lot of complex, fanfare. All right. So when I created my first digital product, my ebook, I put it up on the order page. So you'd go and you'd go through read my sales letter, you'd fill out the order form, you'd put in your credit card, and then as soon as you were approved, it would take you to a page where you could just download the PDF. And I didn't have any kind of fancy membership site. It didn't even have a password on it. You just downloaded the PDF and you opened it up and you started using it. Now, a lot of people said, Evan, you're crazy. I mean, people are going to rip it off and people are going to send other people the link. And what I've learned is that when you create a digital product, okay, as soon as you create it, someone is going to take it and they're going to upload it to a file sharing network somewhere. Yeah, that's just the reality. And that's the way it's been, for 10 years or something. It's just going to happen. But the good news is that most people who would buy the product, and most of the people who would actually give you money for your product, are good people and they want to see you benefit as well. And most of the people that are going to go, and just try to find it online for free are hacker types or whatever who weren't going to buy it from you anyway. Now, I know that that's a hard, it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow, but there's a bright side of this. And that is, I've actually done this, many times like this. And in fact, I've gotten to the point now where I've realized that this is the reality of it. And for example, when you, come into the digital product blueprint course, where you take some of my more advanced courses, I've even got a program called the Platinum Passport, which gives you one password to get all of the different programs that I've created, like 40 plus of my high-end programs. And once someone, signs up and they prove that they're a good customer and they, go through the training, whatever, we unlock that and we make it so that you can actually go and download all of the original files right to your computer. And you'll notice that iTunes does this, with their kind of, with most of the music they have right now. It's not even copy protected anymore because, again, we've realized the people that would buy it, most of them will anyway. So now I'm going to circle back around, best method of delivering an 8-module e-course. And again, this is the reason I went into that whole thing is it's all about getting it done fast. Okay. It is really all about getting it done fast. What I would do if I were you is I'd just create a special page on your blog that's not, published on your main blog. Just put it over on another blog or just start another free blog and sign people up for your course. And then as they go through it, just send them a link over to get the lessons over on your blog, and if you want, you can send them an email every time you update one. It's very normal to do this right now. And it's particularly important to do it if you're just getting started and you need to test this out, because it's not worth going through all this, setting up a complex membership site and doing password protecting, locking all your files and all that stuff. Okay, the big players, most of us have realized that that isn't the way to do this. Okay, let's see here. All right, Onder Hassan says, hi Evan, Onder here from London. My question is, how do you know that the product you create will succeed? Is it possible to create a product whilst reducing the risk of it not succeeding? You know what? I'm just going to do a little timeout here and just go check with my team and make sure everything's going well. This is the first time today that I'm on kind of live broadcast video, and from experience with webinars in the past, I just want to make sure everything's good. Corey, I realize that there's a little bit of a delay, but when you see what I'm talking about here, will you do me a favor and just go over and ping me and let me know that you still see me, everything looks solid? Or Kim, if you hear this, maybe you could let me know the same thing. Bear with me here just for a sec. Making sure everything's working. And of course, there's like a 20-second delay or something, and so. Still good, guys? All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Again, just need to make sure everything's rolling along well. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so back to this question. Hi, Evan. Onder here from London. My question is, how do you know that the product you create will succeed? Is it possible to create a product whilst reducing the risk of it not succeeding? Okay, the answer here is use all the stuff that I've figured out. Right? That's really the answer. If you will methodically go through the processes of figuring out the specific emotional hot buttons of your customer, right? Go through the blueprints that I'm going to give you in the digital product blueprint and create your product based on this stuff. That alone dramatically reduces the risk of it not succeeding. Okay, most people who create books and digital products, right, they run into failure. And I think that the main reason, right, is that they just don't do this stuff. They do the data dump that I talked about, and they don't intentionally do this. The other way to reduce the risk is to do some of the marketing that you're going to learn from me and actually sell an initial version of the course before you go and create the long run or the long one. And then once you create, the kind of test version of the product, you get a positive response. You can sell the higher end version, and then you can create it as you go. So yeah, we can. I think we can probably reduce your probability of failure by like 80 or 90%. But just join me for the digital product blueprint, because that's where I'll show you everything. All right. Jonathan says, your attention to detail and strategic approach to generating content is inspiring. Everything is done with intent. It's a great opportunity to be able to learn from you. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the compliment. I thought there was a question coming. Here's another one, but I think it's a good comment. David C. says, your principles are directly related to science and psychology, which is excellent. Your products focus on the biggies where people will get personal gain or avoid personal pain or again. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I try to do in my training is walk this fine line between doing marketing that gets someone to buy something from you, but not using overly high pressure sales that feels bad. And then when you finally get into the course, you go, this isn't it at all, And so what I'll teach you how to do, again, when you design your product using the blueprint, and then you design your marketing using the blueprint, the result that you get is customers, they see the product, they see the name of it, they see the description of it, they hear you talking about it, and everything you're saying, right? Everything you're saying to them, they say, everything they're hearing, they say, yes, yes, that's what I want. Yes, that's what I want. Right? And it's really important to do that. If you get out of rapport, if you make the mistake of, just saying whatever comes to mind rather than considering thinking like a customer, it really hurts. It really hurts. People get turned off immediately. They realize that your product isn't for them. So definitely do this and use the blueprints. All right, Carlos says, if I join, will I be able to use it later on? I'm engaged in another high demand product right now. You said 3 months down the road. Carlos, you absolutely will. And because I don't teach these classes, because I don't do these very often, I've got a full life and a lot going on, and I have, a few other main courses that I teach sometimes. If you're in a position where you can, take a few months and go through the training at least, what happens is at the end of the 90 days, when you dive in to create your product, create your marketing, get everything online, right? You're going to hit the ground running. You're already going to be up to speed. In a certain way, it would be, really efficient to be able to do that. For most people, I wouldn't recommend that because, it's good to take what you're learning and implement it as you learn. And the way the digital product blueprint is designed is you go through, a little video that's 20 or 30 minutes long. You do an exercise, and then you go and you create some part of your product or your marketing. But if you go through them all over a few months, and then, you circle back and you dive into creating your product and marketing, I mean, it's going to be awesome. So definitely, for sure, I would do it if you can. Also, just because, there's an opportunity to learn with me, more real time here. All right, I've got another question here. I don't have a name. It says NLP for actors. How can I specifically create and name a category that helps actors to get more acting work? All right, so I'm not an actor, unfortunately, and we'd have to dive in. You need to learn some of the methods, and then be able to go into your mind and take the knowledge you have and sort through it and find the specific area that's going to be most in demand. But what I'd say is you want to think not just helping actors to get more acting work, but you're probably going to be looking at a specific type of actor and a specific type of acting work. And here's a hint, right? You want to help the actors that have the money to be able to buy your product, if that makes sense, right? And then you want to help them get acting work in a way where they're going to be able to see results very quickly. Naming a product and naming a category, right? Naming a product and a category is one of the most important things that you can do. If you can get your category right, and then you get the name of your product right, a lot of the rest of your marketing just falls into place. And a lot of the things that you're going to need to do to build your business, to partner with others, when you show others your product and you talk about your category, it's just very powerful. And when we were starting out, I had this book called W Dating, and then I had a couple of other programs. I had an audio program and a video program, and then I had an interview series. I had just a few programs, but I realized, my category is dating advice for men, and there isn't anyone else that says that that's their category. And so by creating the category called dating advice for men, when I would show up to people that were affiliate partners or go to big websites, I mean, we partnered with some of the biggest websites online, and I would say, here's my book or here's my course, and we're number one in dating advice for men. Making it so that you're the first one in the category. This is a series of trainings that you'll get inside the Digital Product Blueprint. So definitely, join for that, because it's just, there's too much psychology. There are too many moving parts. We'll get through it in a few sessions there, though. But each of them is, as long as this whole, Q&A session is here. Let's see. Jamie says, I came to America at 16 years of age. I'm writing a book about my experience. Should I publish it and share? P.S. I'm now legally living in the Big Apple. Congratulations. Yeah, you know, Jamie, I don't know your whole story here, but my basic answer is, how many people around the world want to know how to move to America and live legally in America? Okay, it's got to be a lot of people. And so if you wrote a book and told your story and then added some self-help elements, added a few how-to steps at the end, it sounds like something that's definitely worth testing. All right, let's see here. Who do we have next? All right, Elenator says, hi, Evan, I'm from Italy. I'm a coach. In Italy, some work is so difficult to sell without having a real contact with the client, especially coaching. Which kind of argument can I teach digitally? Okay. So I assume you're asking, as a coach, what type of product can you make so that you don't have to have contact with the client? Well, interestingly enough, if you're already a coach, you have an advantage, because what you can do is you can come up with an idea for a product, and then when you're talking to people about your coaching, right, you can put in there, I also have this product that you should buy, and you can test out selling it to them one-on-one, because if you do that several times, you talk to someone, you test out selling them the product when you're talking to them, which sounds like you're already doing, you'll learn what the objections are, why they're maybe having an objection, what some of the other things that you need to put in there are. And it's often a great way to come up with how to create a digital product. And by the way, for coaches, if you're a coach or a teacher or a practitioner, or someone that has some kind of expertise, or you're a guru, and you're already teaching people, you are one of the people that definitely should create a digital product. You have so many advantages. When we go through the exercises in the digital product blueprint and we walk through, okay, here are the questions that you need to know the answer to from your prospective client, you already know a lot of the answers. Okay, so it's a lot easier for you to create a product that's going to work. And what you have to do is you have to realize that the coaching, right? The coaching takes your client time. They have to show up for it. Yes, there's a big advantage to doing one-on-one coaching, but nowadays there's a big advantage to a digital product because they can go through it on their own time. Okay, and especially because you're a coach, it's important to take what you know and take the most valuable stuff and put it into a product that can start going out and doing the coaching for you, so that you can leverage your expertise. And again, as I said, it's very important to expand your mind and realize that this is the future. Right? This is the future. There are people all around the world. I've done the math in my head. I think that basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's someone that's watching one of my courses, listening to one of my courses, reading one of my programs, watching one of my videos. It's basically happening all the time now. And when that starts happening, it's an incredible feeling. I mean, it really is an incredible feeling to have your teaching affecting and impacting people, you earning an income from it, and you growing a business. Let's see, Camille says, where's the best place to use our story to get the best results from sharing it? Well, there are two main places to use your story. One great place to use your story is in your marketing. Okay, so when you're talking to people who don't know you, and maybe they're meeting you for the first time, or they're watching one of your videos, or reading one of your emails, you have to remember that we don't automatically assume that the other person is like us. But if we figure out while we're talking to them or while we're learning from them that they are like us, we tend to like them more. So one place is in your marketing, and there's a 7-step process for designing your story, that that we walk through when you go through the digital product blueprint. But definitely talk about where you came from and what happened, and try to focus on the things that you have in common with your client, so that they will say, "Oh, this person is like me." The other places to use your story are in your product itself, because, and this is really important. You're going to want to write this down if you're going to create a digital product. Just because someone buys your digital product doesn't mean they're going to use it. And one of the most important jobs that you have, actually, and ironically, is that when someone buys your digital product, to get them to use it. Okay? So as soon as they get into it, you have to sell them again on using it, and using your story is a great way to do this. And refining your story and getting it just right, it becomes one of your biggest assets in business. Let's see here. Ayana says, "Hello, Eben. I'm a lawyer from Guyana. I have relaunched my practice to focus on law that heals. I have expertise in land law, among other areas. How do I target a niche in this area?" Okay, that's interesting. Law that heals. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is, law is one of the most abstract words that there is, right? So law is a huge word, and heals, is also a very, very abstract concept. Okay, now I can get an idea about law that heals because I've worked with lawyers and whatever, but you're going to need to get more specific. Okay, you're going to need to go through several levels of drilling down and doing some exercises to identify what it is that your prospective customer is looking for, and what it is that they're going to find most valuable. Okay, so what it is they're looking for, what they're going to find most value, and it's probably going to be something very specific. So if you're talking about having expertise in land law, right, you'd want to go through some exercises here, and you'd want to figure out what part of land law, what specifically in land law, and then you'd want to identify those things that are the biggest pain points or hot buttons that people are searching for, and you'd want to offer them solutions to those very specific situations. I used the example here a couple times of dog training. If someone came to me and said, "Hey, I'm in dog training and I want to practice on dog training that heals," I would say, "Okay, what are the things that people search for in terms of dog training most often?" And you might come back and you say, "Well, they want their dog to stop barking, or they want the dog to stop biting people." And I'd say, "Okay, great. So the first thing we want to create is probably a piece of content or a video on how to get your dog to stop biting. And then once people show up and they start subscribing and they become interested in that, then you can sell them the thing that helps them, do the things that they want. Or you may even want to create a whole product about how to get your dog to stop biting. And then within that product, you put all the rest of this stuff in." This is actually one of the most important parts of creating your product, is to sell people what they want, but then teach them what they need. And by the way, in the digital product blueprint, I have a series of models that I call frameworks, which is when you organize all the knowledge that you have and you put it into these structures that make it really easy to identify what you know, but then say it in a way so people say, "Wow, that's really valuable and I can use that." Okay, so definitely look for those inside the digital product blueprint. I think it'll really help you identify the specific things that people are after, so that, because I can tell you have a good heart. You really want to help people and heal them, but where they're at right now, they probably have a problem, and you've got to talk to that need first. Okay. Adana says, "Do you need to have a website before launching the digital product?" I would definitely set up a website to launch your digital product. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be simple. And it's not that hard to do these days with the tools that are out there. But yeah, you definitely need a website. If you're new and you're a little intimidated by all the technology and things, remember in the digital product blueprint, we have the tech tool trainings, and we walk you through step by step how to set up a website, how to do your content, how to do your autoresponders, all those kinds of things. But yes, you're going to need to do it. The training on how to set up a website will take you probably an hour and maybe a little bit of question and answer. But yeah, for sure, you should do that. Let's see. Shirley says, "I help women write and self-publish their books? Their biggest issues are time, topic, and confidence to be the go-to expert. What topic can I focus on to differentiate myself from other book coaches? Well, Shirley, what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, so you say their biggest issues are time, topic, and confidence. You have to get more specific and say, confidence. What are they saying exactly when they come to you? What are they actually saying? Right? They're probably not saying, oh, my issue is confidence. They're probably saying, like, I don't know if it'll succeed because I don't know if there are enough people out there that want to buy it, Or, if their biggest issue is time, it's probably something more specific than that. Like, maybe they have a full-time job and they want to know if they can actually self-publish a book and work on it only a couple of hours a day. And again, you need to go through several levels of identifying their hot buttons and then sorting them. And I've got a whole process that I put you through of how to identify which ones are the most important. And one or two of them, by the way, are going to be worth like 5 or 10 times the value of the others. They're really the ones you want to focus on. But you need to drill down. You're going to need to spend at least a couple of hours looking into this and identifying what they want and what you have. And probably because you have a little more expertise, once you do it, you're going to want to test out your niche and test out the product, do a test marketing before you launch it. Okay, that's really important. And of course, I'm talking a lot about the Digital Product Blueprint. By going through that course, it'll answer all these questions for you. But it does take a little bit of time. That particular issue probably takes a few hours going through 3 or 4 trainings. All right, so Pam says, what do you recommend for someone who doesn't have a definitive story, doesn't really have something that happened where they've had an aha moment where everything changed? Well, Pam, I haven't seen that before. All right, I actually haven't seen it. Usually what it is you don't realize that a little insight that you had was your aha, and that's when everything changed. And that if your prospective client heard that they'd say, oh, wow, okay, now I get it. Now this makes sense to me, because each of us is naturally really good at what we're naturally really good at, and because each of us is a gifted genius in some unique area, the place where we're a gifted genius, we don't recognize it. We don't recognize that is, it's a unique perspective on the world, and that if you could just put your story together and share it with other people, other people will say, gosh, that's such an amazing realization. I can go and use that right now. So what I recommend is, use the story formula that I've created to, create a conversion story that really works. And when you go through the marketing lessons inside of the Digital Product Blueprint, and you go through the marketing step-by-step course, you're gonna find the area where you had your aha moments. I mean, you're going to find your areas. Sorry about that. Got a little construction noise going on outside. The mobile lifestyle has its positives and sometimes challenges. So as you go through the marketing sessions, you're going to see, oh, wow, this is something that I know that I didn't even realize was incredibly valuable. I mean, as an example, when I was first learning dating advice, before I ever even had the idea to make digital products or any of that stuff, I was just learning it for myself because I was a socially awkward guy and I couldn't, get a girl to talk to me for anything. I went and started hanging out with guys who, for whatever reason, they just seemed to get it. They knew how to flirt, and they know how to get a woman's phone number and get a date, get a date online, that kind of thing. So I watched what they did, and when I would see them do something that, was interesting or unusual that didn't make sense, I would say, why did you do that? Why did you tease that woman right there? I would never have, teased her. And then they would, they'd have an answer like, well, what else would you do? And as I got into it, I realized it doesn't occur to them any other way. They don't even realize that what they're doing is this brilliant thing, that others would gladly pay an arm and a leg to get. And again, because I knew something about marketing, I was able to identify some of those things. Okay, let's see. Marie. Okay. Marie says, I love you. I've been following you for many years. As a Rwandan genocide orphan survivor, you took my fear away for doing business online. Now I'm very comfortable working online because of you. Wow. Wow, thank you for that. If you, Marie, if you, well, it looks like we've only got a few more minutes, but if you've got a question, maybe try to type it in because I'd love to help you. Thank you for that. Okay, let's see, next here. Deborah says, what if we don't have a clue about what our specific product should be? Is that covered in your course? Yes. So, that's what the digital product blueprint is. It's the blueprint to create your digital product and then create your marketing and then launch it online. Through the course of the trainings, what you do is you start identifying kind of the big buckets, the big categories of what you know. And then you start narrowing it down to the knowledge, again, that people already want to buy and that is really valuable, the knowledge that they really want to pay the most for. And again, this is like a filtering. You have to go through a few levels and a few weeks of exercises to figure this out. And in the process, you also figure out what your unique category is. Because there's a multi-layered here. It's one thing if I just say to you, hey, I've got this book and, it's got some tips about, how you could maybe get a date, and I got some ideas in there. Yeah, that's one level of compelling. But if I say, here's my book, it's called Double Your Dating. Okay, if you go through this book, you'll get twice as many dates. That's a little clearer, right? If I say, here's my book, it's called Double Your Dating. If you go through this book, you'll learn how to start a conversation with a woman and not get rejected. If you're a man and you're listening to this right now, you know how powerful that is, right? So we drill down and we figure out emotional hot buttons. We figure out the things so critical, the knowledge you have that people will pay the most money for. Because when it comes down to it, there are usually only a few things. There's a handful of things that are the ones that people will pay the high prices for. The rest of it, they want to learn and they need to learn, but they're not the things that make them say, oh, gosh, I've got to have it, right? So, if you don't have a clue about what your product should be, right, that's what the digital product blueprint is. It's a blueprint to walk through to target the customer, get the knowledge, figure out what you have that's highly valuable, organize it, put it in exactly the right order, and then create a product so that when you go to do the marketing, all you have to do is talk about the product because it was already designed to be super high value. So yeah, Deborah, I think you're really going to love this. We're wrapping up here. Let's see, time right? Yeah, so 12:57. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up right now, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're considering the digital product blueprint, I want to invite you to, get involved today. Jump in, take advantage of these special bonuses. When you register right now, you're going to go in and you are going to immediately have access to, a great reference library of training. I want you to just go watch the Wake Up Productive welcome video. Okay, you're going to watch a welcome video to the whole course. When you get there, it's just a few minutes. Then go watch the Wake Up Productive video. Go watch that one, and then go and watch your first marketing step-by-step video. Okay, these are just two of the bonus courses. That will start to answer some of your questions. It'll start changing how you think about all of this, and it'll give you tools that you can start using in your life to get a lot more productive, to identify the knowledge you have, that's valuable, and to break through some of the mindset blocks and some of the, the fears that you might have to doing this. Remember, we've got full money-back guarantee for the whole course. You can go through the whole thing. So just join me today. It's our best payment option we've ever had. If you can afford it, definitely go for the full tuition because you get those 2 advanced courses about creating your product and getting traffic. And those 2 courses are worth more alone than the entire tuition for the whole course. So if you at all can, go for the full pay option and get those courses and start going through them as well. They'll really help you create your second or your high-end product. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to jump off now because I've got to do more trainings today and need to go check on my little baby daughter. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you inside the digital product blueprint and looking forward to working with you to help you create your your digital product and market it online. All right, bye-bye.